One of the most subtle mistakes of the mind is confusing awareness with presence. You notice what you feel. You recognize the pattern. You can describe what is happening inside you. And because you can see it, you assume you are present. But awareness is not presence. Awareness is informational. Presence is experiential. You can be aware of something and still be completely disconnected from it. In fact, awareness often appears when presence is missing. The mind steps in to observe what it does not want to fully feel. So it names, it labels, it explains. I notice anxiety. I'm aware of tension. I see the pattern activating. And all of this sounds mature, grounded, conscious. But notice what is happening. You are talking about the experience instead of being with it. Awareness creates distance. It allows you to look at the feeling instead of entering it. And that distance feels safe because presence is vulnerable. Presence means there is no buffer between you and what is happening. No commentary, no interpretation, no mental positioning, just contact. The mind prefers awareness because awareness maintains control. You stay one step back. You keep perspective. You don't get overwhelmed. But presence is not about control. Presence means allowing the experience to register fully without managing it. This is why many people feel highly aware, but strangely unchanged. They understand their inner world. They can map it precisely. They can explain it clearly, and yet nothing settles. The same reactions appear. The same tensions return. The same discomfort persists. Because awareness alone does not integrate experience. It only describes it. Presence is what allows experience to complete itself without interruption, without distancing, without analysis. And that completion is what the system needs. This is the difference most people miss. They cultivate awareness as a substitute for presence, and the substitution feels convincing because awareness feels active. Presence feels passive, but passivity is misleading here. Presence is not passive. It is receptive. It requires staying when the impulse is to step back. And that is precisely what the mind avoids. This confusion between awareness and presence is reinforced by how the mind protects itself. Awareness feels like involvement, but it keeps experience at a distance. You are close enough to see, but far enough not to feel. That distance feels intelligent. It feels regulated. It feels safe. Because presence has no buffer. When you are present, the sensation is direct. The tension does not have a label. The emotion does not have a story. The discomfort does not have a reason. It is just there. And the mind reacts to that immediacy, as if something is wrong. So it introduces awareness. It steps in with commentary, with observation, with explanation. I'm noticing this. I'm aware of what's happening. I see the process. And the moment those sentences appear, distance is restored. The nervous system relaxes slightly, not because the experience resolved, but because it was interrupted. This is why awareness often feels calming. It reduces intensity by pulling you out of contact. But reduction is not integration. What was not fully felt does not complete. It waits. And later, it returns. This is why people feel caught in cycles of noticing, without relief. They become excellent observers of their own discomfort. They can track it, name it, anticipate it, but they never let it finish. Because finishing requires presence. Presence means allowing the sensation to unfold without interference. No monitoring, no commentary, no mental distance. Just staying. That staying is uncomfortable because without awareness as a shield, the body has to process directly. And direct processing feels exposed. This is why awareness is seductive. It looks like growth without requiring vulnerability. You feel conscious, but you remain protected. And protection keeps the system incomplete. Presence, on the other hand, does not protect. It allows. It does not manage intensity. It allows intensity to move. And when intensity is allowed, it changes. Not because you do something, but because the system completes what it started. Awareness pauses the process. Presence lets it finish. That distinction is subtle, but everything depends on it. This is where presence actually makes a difference. Not by doing something, but by not stepping away. Presence is the willingness to remain with experience without translating it into information. No labels, no explanations, no positioning, just contact. And contact changes how the system responds. When you stay present, the body receives a different signal. It is no longer being watched. It is no longer being managed. It is allowed to complete its own cycle. Sensations rise. They peak. They fall. Not because you controlled them, but because nothing interrupted them. This is what awareness prevents. Awareness keeps experience slightly unfinished, always observed, always named, never fully lived. Presence feels risky because it removes the safety net. You are no longer aware of the feeling. You are with it. And that closeness is what allows integration. Integration does not feel dramatic. It often feels subtle, almost anticlimactic. You notice afterward that something did not linger, that a reaction passed without leaving residue, that attention dissolved without explanation. That is presence at work, not insight, not analysis, not understanding, just completion. This is why presence cannot be practiced as a technique. The moment it becomes a method, awareness takes over again. Presence is a choice, made repeatedly, in ordinary moments. Moments when the impulse is to step back, to explain, to observe, and instead, you stay. You don't improve the experience. You don't make it better. You don't manage it. You allow it. That allowance is what teaches the system that intensity is survivable, that nothing needs to be avoided, that nothing needs to be controlled. And once the system learns that, presence becomes natural. Not because you remember to be present, but because there is no longer a need to escape. Awareness had its role. It showed you the pattern. Presence is what releases it. This is inner cognition.